How much is your Social Security actually worth? All right, my man Wendell from here in Georgia had written, and he goes, Josh, it'd be a good video to do to say how much your Social Security benefit is worth relative to a $1 million portfolio in cash value. So he goes, I bet a lot of people like to see that, especially when you factor taxes and all that. So that's actually a really good idea, Wendell. And it got my juices flowing because what this is called is a net present value of a growing annuity. And I haven't done this in a long time, man. We had to do the CFP thing, and I've probably done it a couple times since, but I completely forgot. And this guy right here doesn't allow you to do that. You have to actually do it in a mathematical formula, which you can see right here. Your old buddy Josh drawing stuff out. Chicken scratch. So what we have to start with is we have to say, if I'm getting $36,000 a year, $3,000 a month, and I'm not doing it monthly, I'm just doing it on a one payment per year basis. And the Social Security Administration says we're going to give you a 2.4% projected inflation. Now, last year was much higher than that. We had 9, I can't remember, it was 8.7 or something like that. But their projections are 2.4. Interestingly, the projections just a couple of years ago was 2.6. So the projections have fallen. But whatever. We're going to say we're getting $36,000 right now is what we're going to get paid in Social Security. 15 years from now, that $36,000 at 2.4% will grow to $51,000. 30 years from now, that $36,000 today at 2.4% will grow to $73,000, and then it stops because we're dead. So what a net present value is, you take in all these numbers and you add them all up, from year 1, year 2, year 3, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do that for 30 times. It's just, use math that can do that for us. So math says, hey, Josh, we'll do that for you with this calculation, which, and again, I've forgotten how to do this. So I looked at the calculation and I said, okay, here's my man, this guy right here, Dr. Steven Stelk. And here's the calculation right here. If you want to do it, I'll just tell you what it is. But you don't have to do all this, but you can. So we're trying to find our present value, and we're going to do that by basing what our payment is. And again, this time our payment is $36,000. R is inflation. I don't know why the math guys don't just say I for inflation. It's kind of like the electricians with volts, amps, and watts. They use something for, I can't remember. I said just use W for watts, V for volts, and amps is A, but they use an I in there somehow. I forgot what it was for the current rate or something like that. I'll just use amps. A for amps. Current is amps. They use I for or something like that. It's like, oh, okay. I don't get it. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't get it. I'm just a caveman. And this is so here's our inflation rate, and that's 2.4%. That's what Social Security Administration believes. And here's our discount rate. A discount rate would be what we could get outside of, based on using a 30-year Treasury right now. 30-year Treasury is 3.8%. Because what a lot of people do, and this is an easy way to do it, they'll say, look, Josh, I'm getting 2.4% increase in my Social Security. That'll be my inflation. I'm getting zero future value. My payment is $36,000 a year. I'm going to do it for 30 years, and I can compute my present value. And they'll say my net present value on my Social Security payments is $763,000. That's wrong because they're not factoring in a coupon rate. Essentially what you could get if you did not use the 2.4%, if that makes sense. And so what this formula says is you got to take your inflation minus your coupon rate, and then over here is your coupon rate divided by your inflation with exponentially to 30 years, how many time frames they're going to pay. You don't need to know all this necessarily, but I'm just going to share with you the basics of the formula. So if you want to dibble dabble, you can figure it out. So this guy's using a 7% inflation with a 3% growth. He's using a 3%. What is that? I can't remember what he's using. Was he using inflation? He uses a growth rate, 3% growth rate with a 7%. I forgot what he's using, but either way, you can see he's using 7% for one and 3% for the other. I forgot which one was which. I just can't remember. But does it say it up here? Probably says it up here. Anyway, but he's taking his payment, subtracting from, dividing that by the inflation minus the growth rate, if that makes sense. And we're going to do the same thing here. And so what we come up with is we say we take our you're not going to be able to see this very well, but $36,000, right? And that's our growth rate minus that's our discount rate, I should say, minus the inflation that Social Security is going to give us. And that gives us $36,000 divided by 0.014. And then we take all these other things, our growth rate, our inflation, and we get all these other numbers, which when all is said and done, it comes down to your Social Security is worth, and here again is more numbers. You can see right there, lots of numbers. I like numbers, it's fun. And we're going to come down to what we came up with, which is $835,714. $835,714. That's what your Social Security is worth if you make, if you get $3,000 a month. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. But now let's say, and I'm just going to assume, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say, what if you make $4,000 a month? Well, I'm not going to do that because then I have to adjust. Because I say, what if you took at 70 and you made $4,000 a month? Then you got to reduce the number of payments. I don't want to do that. So your old buddy Josh, for me, if I'm getting $835,000, and Charlotte will just, for simplicity, is going to get half that. All right, I'm just saying half that. I don't want to get too deep in the rabbit hole here because she won't get half that because she'll take hers at 62. And you can figure all that out, and that's fine. But I'm getting $835,000 if I only made $3,000 a month in Social Security. I don't know if I can just real quick. Hold on a sec. I can. I'm going to do this real quick. So for Charlotte, she won't get half of mine. She'll get 18. We'll say she's going to get $18,000, be $1,500 a month, half of mine, and she'll get it $1,500, but it'll be reduced by what 25% because she took it early. So 1112. So 1112 times 12. So she'll get $13,500 is going to be her payment divided by 0.014 because the bottom number doesn't change. So 13,500 divided by 0.014. All right, so she's going to get 9. That'll be, hold on a second, bear with me just a second. But now because she took hers earlier, she'll have not 30 payments, she'll have 62, I guess it would be 30 payments. Yeah, it'll still be 30 payments. We'll still say 30 payments. So what happens here is we take 964,000 times 1 minus 6.675. Hold on a second. I'll figure this out real quick. That's what her net present value of Social Security will be if she was making, if she was making, I forgot what her payment was, $13,500 each and every year. So 313,000 plus mine, 835, and I just kind of rounded this up a little bit here, guys, plus 835,714. So our Social Security, screw that up, dude. Oh, no, that's right. Wait, let me just do this again. 835,714 plus 313,400. There it is. Our Social Security benefits are worth $1.14 million today. Well, when we hit retirement. 1.14 million schmackaroonies, guys. And let me tell you, I don't have 1.14 million schmackaroonies. I just don't. So ours will actually be worth more than that. I could probably do this real quick. Hold on a sec. Yeah, so if we get $3,400 a month, that'll be a payment of $40,800. You got to divide that by 0.014. Divide that by 0.014. That's a 2.9 million. Now that's not what you're going to get. You got to do some other calculations there too, and you got to times that by 0.325. Times by 0.325. Yeah. So if your Social Security payment is $3,400, your net present value is $947. If that makes sense. And that's just how you do it. So basically what happens here is once you kind of get the math done, you get right here. You get the payments. So what you do is that is your payment right there. And you just change your payment because this bottom stuff is fine. If you're using a coupon of 3.8 and inflation of 2.4, that bottom stuff is fine right there. And then this one right here is always going to be, actually just the end of the number of years you want to use. I'm using 30. It's probably a good idea. But then you just so what happens is you divide this payment by that number, and that's going to give you like some big number, 2.5 million. But you times that by 0.325, which is based on how many years you take Social Security, if that makes sense, you're alive. So once you get to, then you can kind of just plug and play with other numbers in terms of payments and the number of times you're going to get paid. And that's pretty easy to do. Anyway, that's it, man. So $947,000, 142 if your payment is $3,400 a month. You're a millionaire, baby. Spend wisely. And that's before taxes. And again, don't forget, Social Security is taxed much better than an IRA. All right, there you go. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.